Hello everyone, Jason Whalen here with Whalen Realty and Auction, and we are super excited about this online only auction we have here in Sycamore, Ohio. That's going to be coming up ending on August 17th. This is part of the Dewey Hetzel auction. He was a large international enthusiast, and as you can see back through this line, there are buildings over here full. Then there's stuff over here across the road. So I am going to take you on a tour and show everybody exactly what we have. So before I go on this tour, I'd like to give some advice about online only auctions when it comes to bidding and some things that you should probably do ahead of time. First of all, for this particular auction, I always recommend going to our website at whalenauction.com, and up above in the tab there's a little red dot, and then it gives you a chance to download the PDF, the actual sale catalog. You can, if you have the availability to print that, email it, share it, but I would print that off, and that has the lot number, and I'm a paper guy and it's easier to follow on paper and maybe not so much on a phone and a screen, as I get a little clustered because I can go to directly what I want. So that is number one. Number two, when it comes to registering for an online auction, I always say do that in advance. When you do that, find something that is dirt cheap, like this 62 Impala currently as we speak, maybe has a current bid of like $400 on it. My suggestion is after you register, go in and place a bid of $500. We all know that it's going to bring more than that. And if the system accepts your bid, you know that you're registered. That way you do not have to call the auction company on Sunday night at 6 o'clock saying my bid will not go through. Don't wait to the 11th and 12th hour. I would do that ahead of time. So some of the highlights that we have here at the Dewey Hetzel is this Titan 1020. This is an original tractor. Dewey bought this. Most of you are familiar with International Tractors when Allman did the Jim Ertl auction up in, I believe that was New York, and that's where this came from. This is a running tractor, and we can show you around here. I'll take you on a tour. This is mostly all original condition. Look at the mag, the oiler on it. And then what is really cool about this here, running tractor, but look at the original decal that you can see there on that Titan. This building here is also chock full of parts. Right over here, there is, that was stored inside, there's a 706 LP. He started tearing things down, was gonna restore it. Then over here is a MV, which is an M high crop. And that's kind of sitting there. He was doing work to there. But then we also have a slew of parts. A lot of this here is going to be at the end. There's Farmall regular parts, F12, all kinds of, like if you look down in here, there's 10, 20 rod bearings, pallets. These are piston sets that are here. They're new old stock. There's a Farmall 450 hood. This is a 62 Impala, good running car. It's been restored, but it's a good driving car. Over here again, there's more pallets and magnetos galore. Tons and tons of magnetos. There's some early ones here that came off of a Harley Davidson, early two-cylinder. There's some John Deere, like your GP style, and pallets and pallets loaded of magnetos. There's an International, and I think that's an E4. Then this here is one lot. This is solid magneto parts. So that's what's inside here. Let's go on a little walkabout and look around. Right behind me here is actually some fan favorites. If you like your F12s and F14s, these are the W, or a Wheatland style for the F14 and F12. It's a W14 and also the W12. The W14 is a rare little bird because that there actually has a factory starter on it. It's an older restoration, like brand new tires. This one here's low, but it's got brand new tire tread on it. And then a W12. Up front, which here coming up in a little bit, there is a rare I-14, very rare tractor. Some other rarities out here. that we'll go over as well. But these are basically the shrunk down version of the Farmall or your row crop. They shrunk them down. They have the W12. They also had a fairway version, and then the I, which we have a industrial 12 over here and an I-14 that we'll go over as well. So out in this portion here, there's a lot of W series or Wheatlands. There's some WK40s over here. That's the large 6-cylinder version over the 4-cylinder. W400 diesel that would start on gas, pull your lever, and it would switch it over, then go to diesel. There's a W6 propane LP that's right over here. And believe it or not, this little bird here to some people may not look like much, but this is actually an Orchard 30, or they took a W30. They took the top casting. As you could see, they made the steering wheel's a lot lower. It has much lower tail seat that's out here. And then they took the levers for the PTO and the gear shift, shoved them down, and brought them out. This over here is a normal W30 where it's actually not the right seat, but the steering shaft and that would be straight up, and then your housing back here was actually different. But that is a very, very low production number tractor, believe it or not. Then out here, as we can kind of see, there is pallet loads of pulleys. There's another high crop over there. There's a 560 high crop, some extensions for steel wheels. There is a little there's actually a case and a Ford that's over there, but most all of them then are going to be different internationals. These are kind of cool. I don't think they actually made them, but these is stamped Huber tractor, which is the steam engine which you've seen from Marion, Ohio. These are number 3 jack. There's also a Marion number 4, and then an Avery jack. So yeah, like AC/DC said, she got the jack. If you don't have the jack, get the jack. So a little fun thing about doing this as an auctioneer is actually knowing about international tractors. They actually started the serial numbers at 501. So 501 would be the first one built. Now, I think we actually a tractor a few years ago, we had the fourth number Farmall M, but looking at this 600 diesel right here, this is just fun to find, a little fun fact. The serial number in this one is 507. So that's the 6-1 that rolled off the factory. It's not number 1, it's not the last, but it's 6. One of the tractors that really revolutionized America and American agriculture would have to be the Farmall H and the Farmall M. This one here is a 1939. It's about as most complete as you could find. It has the actual correct steering, or not steer, but the steel wheels on the rear and also front. The sheet metal on this is actually super clean or straight. It's just, yes, it's rust. But a 39, they had a dip in the rear end. There's some just different characteristics of a 39 that would stick out. It isn't missing the starter, but 39 was the first year for the Farmall H, which replaced the Farmall, well, basically the F14. We're going to come back down this row and end up down there at the steam engine, but there are certain things here, like here is a 650 LP. Most of those that you would see are going to be a diesel, the 650 and also the 600, but this one's an LP. We do have a 660 that's in there. That's an LP version as well. There are several industrial tractors like this one here is. Now this one might be a industrial 30 if I'm not mistaken, but you can see how the axle, they would have these heavy axle brakes in the back, and some of them even had a different drawbar. So yes, there are, you find some of your common things here, but if you're an international enthusiast, kind of know what you're looking at. There's just some rare options here that you would find on some of these. You might find steel wheels that have what they call road steel, which means that there's more spokes in here, where this WK40, they're more spread apart. So that's what they would call a road steel. This is an F20. This would be called a narrow tread, an NT. There's also a couple of other ones over there we'll explain. Here's a Farmall F12 here, the low steering. And then we have one of the first F12s. Farmall was eager to get out into the market with their smaller row crop, and they actually produced the F12. The first ones that came out had a Walkabout engine. So this is one here. It also has the mounted plow. It is on cutoffs, but these would have been the correct center wheels that a Walkabout would have had. This is actually a running tractor. Their serial number is up here on top of the hood, and but again, there's this early Farmall F12. Here's a Farmall M. You can see the dip in the rear end back there. That kind of explains that it's either a 1939 or 40. Here is a F12 wide front. This is a running tractor as well. This would have your F&H round spokes, and that is a true international wide front on that. That's not a Schwartz or something that was cobbled up. This here, guys, is a Huber. It's a new Huber. According to the family, a friend of his that's up our way, Mr. Johnson, and him put new tubes in this back in the 1980s, and then they pulled it inside over there in the shop. So it was stored inside. We pulled it out here for the next 30 days for people just to inspect it, to look at it. But it actually has been stored ever since the 1980s. So the Farmall A came in different variations as well. This is an AV. The V is for the high crop. It sits up higher for different vegetables. As you can see, the front end can go out good length. This is a restoration project. I know that Dewey was in there working on this one. It was inside. He had actually two different shops. He had this one in there. All the parts here does go with it, and but it's a very, very straight tractor. It'd be a fun restoration project. Yes, there are some people that enjoy collecting LP. During the 1950s, it was a thing of what is a new fuel source. International was a leading producer there for the longest time of diesel, and also LP is kind of a different from gasoline, just because of the fuel consumption and how much maybe you were more accessible to LP than others. But yeah, that is what that big tank is up there, if anybody's not familiar. Other things that they did, they went from the W4, and then they did these round fenders. This is an Orchard model. There is another one that's over there that would have the front tin. The tin that comes along the sides, they cut down the low wheel. The Orchard was for going around trees and keeping the branches from going inside of the engine by hitting fruit, and then it would just kind of smoothly glide up over the tire. Then you wouldn't do any damage to your orchard trees. Here is the other rare tractor. This is an I-12. Again, as I said, in the back, they had a different drawbar, just a complete different brake housing that was on there. This one, the serial number is right here in the hood as an I, meaning industrial. This has a patch block. That's the water pocket. Probably about 80% of your F12s, they left water in them, and that was the weak spot right there. So that one, you know, it was patched, but an original serial number. An overall just straight tractor, make a great restoration project. And then here is your Wheatland style of the W4, more open. That's called Amish steel. And then that is the Orchard model of the same thing. So you had a 04 and a W4. So one of my all-time favorite tractors is actually the International 816. My kind of passion for these kind of go way back. I actually owned one of these tractors I think around the time I was 15 years old. It was in bushel baskets. Came from Ed Adolph, who we ironically had his auction back in 2017. But anyhow, I put it together, got it running, but this is an International 816. Believe it or not, these are actually siblings to the Titan. If anybody doesn't know that, just a little history, that these were sold under the Mogul dealerships at that time, or the McCormick. So the International Harvester Company formed in 1902 when Cyrus McCormick and William Deering got together. They were competitors, and they formed and they branched. They bought Milwaukee, Champion, and some other company. They formed the International Harvester Company. Well, from that point on till somewhere in the 1920s, they kept the dealership names Deering and McCormick. So the Mogul line was sold through the McCormick time, and then the Titan tractors were sold through the Deering line. So they had different appearances, but these were made at the same time as the Titan. That was a 2-cylinder, this is a 4-cylinder. This is the later version that would have dual exhaust on it. The earlier ones had a big long oiler on them. That was the VB series. This is a later IC series. And those of you that are interested, there is a parts one out there. We also do have the Lefevre fenders that fit a Titan 1020, and we also have a set that fit an 816 that are selling separate. And if you are an enthusiast of gas engine, there are a number of gas engines that are here. That's an International Tom Thumb. There is also a famous pump engine here. There is I believe this was a 10 horse. Right here, he's got the 6 horse, excuse me, the 6 horse International here. Beautiful. It's on the cart, as you could see. There's also things like the International cream separator. There's a Model M. We have those in different various horsepowers. And then up here is just a great Mogul. Look at here. It's just got a lot of bells and whistles on it. I do believe that he had this running not too long ago. There it is. There's a 4-horse Mogul made from 1911 to 17. So again, Mogul, that would have been sold under the McCormick line. There's your oiler there. Just an overall, just a really solid engine. So here's another rare bird. This is the International I-14. This is the industrial F-14 version. Again, this one here has got the factory starter. Unfortunately, the serial tag is missing on this, but it has the correct wheels on it. I think the block was good on this one. It even has the dual tires on here, and then look at that drawbar and brake system that you'd find that you just come on the industrial series. Here's a couple other rare birds inside the shop that Dewey was working on. This is a 460 utility LP. And here's all the extra parts that we found that go with the tractor as well. He did a lot of the engine work on this one. This one here too, he did a lot of engine work on it. He was in the process. Another low production. This is a Super W6 LP. So it's got the disc brake system like the Super Series would have. The LP, unfortunately, over here, the rim was cut off. He bolted that on there, but he was just in the process of getting it going. And it does have the serial tag on it as well. Again, low production. Then over here is the International Shop Mule. So Joe and Mark have been trying to find the parts, what goes with it, and they do believe that they got that all together. So we are going to take another walk out here, kind of look at some other tractors that are outside. Here's another room here that is just chock full of gas engines. There are parts. You'd have to make sure you watch our website, look at the full listing. Here is a, I believe that's a 5-horse Model M. There's various like 3-horse or horse and a half. There is a John Deere Model E that's back there that's torn apart. Here are some little jumbos here. Now this one here is I believe it's a 6 or 7-horse Satley. It's on a cart, and I do believe that they said a lot of engine work was actually done to this, but they just never got around to put it together. So again, here's a large Satley, and then more gas engine row. Now we start to go back through here and back some of the other ones that they had here. There's I do believe that's a W30 there. And then believe it or not, this tractor here is probably one of the lowest production tractors that are here. This is an ID40, meaning that it is in an industrial. It would be like a WD40, but an industrial with the original serial tag. It starts on gas, switches to diesel, and it is an industrial. It has the correct drawbar, the weights on it, and so forth, or the weights, and there was a patch right there, but very, very low production number tractor. Obviously, it's a restoration project. Here is that's a narrow tread regular. They only made those one year, 31 or 32, I believe. There is a W600 that's back there. Here is an F30. There's an HV, H high crop that's back there. And then this one here is a W, or a F30, an F30 narrow tread here. And then there's the HV, that just the way that we found it. Here is like a tractor. I don't know if it's probably a T20. Super H, that's right here. That is one of the first stages with the battery up underneath. Here's an 816 that for some reason he took apart, and then there it is, some assembly required. You know, one of the things that never really get appreciated at tractor shows, there's two things, a doodlebug, and then the other one is the yarder. After living through COVID and seeing how much this country during those times was in a crisis with our, what do they call that, the supply chain. Well, during the war times of America, there was no material out there. So junkyards had to turn to old trucks and kind of build their own creation of a crane to get by with what they did. There's never two of them alike. It's everybody's own little creation and also work of art. This is actually made from an international truck. So Dewey bought, he actually runs, he actually used it and it does work. But that is something I hope, like a rat rod, gains popularity in the future, because during the supply chain of World War II, there was just nothing out there. And that was their creation. And it got them through that time. Yes, this row looks a little rougher, but there are some great ones back here. There is a International M diesel that's through here. Some also parts tractors, 1020s. I think that's an 06 that's over there. Here's an F14, an F20. There's another F30 that's down there. And I think one of those, that might have been a narrow tread as well. It is. That's an F30 narrow tread. Here's another F12. But this one here actually caught my attention as well. This is an industrial 1020. Now, as I look at this thing, and I look at how original the seat is, how good the tin and the metal is, the belt pulley, that pan, it does have the original serial tag, and I don't see any cracks or welds that are on this tractor. And now, being an industrial thing, you would have thought over time that a lot of different pieces would be missing, things would be dented, things would be welded, but I would have to guess that this tractor, over its time period, surprisingly, probably does not have that many hours that are on this tractor. It would be a great restoration project. There is that Zenith carburetor. That's a little bit unusual to have that updraft versus the 2-bolt or 3-bolt side draft that's on it. But that is a true industrial tractor. I don't know if those are the original rims that would have been on it or not. That I'm not sure, but the rest of the tractor is overall pretty complete, even including the seat. Here's another M industrial. There's another 39 or 40 Farmall H, and then a 600 diesel. So if you're an international enthusiast, you're gonna want to pay attention to this. So there's a lot of things here that we are selling in bulk, especially the parts and so forth, some of the engine parts in there. The other one is this setup that Dewey had that was on this trailer. There's a 2-cylinder single cylinder Cushman that was all, these were all bolted together. But this Johnson pump engine here deserves some attention. As you can see, all the bird Finkel matter will go with the unit as well. But there is a Johnson all set up with the pump, and it looks like it's pretty much well complete. Original, he would have had this set up in display unit here, but overall, that's kind of a cool engine. And you're going to be buying the trailer and everything on it for one money. So here's some more of the restored tractors that we had, again, lower production. This is an International Utility LP. You know, you just don't see the LPs around that much, especially in a utility. I think there's only a handful of these I've actually seen. This one's all decked out here in paint, new tires all the way around it. And then this one here is another extremely rare bird. It's a 660. Most of those were diesel. There are some gas versions that were out there. I've actually sold a few. but this one is an LP 660. Again, it's just a big hunk of Whalen style tractor for out west in Canada, the fixed front end that you would find. And then up here, I explained that there was an orchard tractor. It's kind of hard to get to here with that metal, but that is an original 04 that's up there. Maybe I'll get around to that. So here's a better shot of this Orchard 4, and then this has all the original side panels. It's actually missing the big fenders that go around, but here are the big side panels that would go forward as it starts to flare that would go up around. But this is an original tractor. That's not edible. But look how straight and this is. I mean, an orchard tractor, usually orchards had a lot of employees, so things got a little banged up and dinged up when people would fall asleep at the wheel. But this one here is just about as straight as you can find one. So that's pretty much all the wrap. There are over 250 lots. There is a 706 gas that was inside the building that it didn't show you, but it's a nice straight original, and a few more pallets there of miscellaneous. Again, thank you for watching. And also remember that the bidding ends on Sunday, August 17th. We do have an open house on Saturday, August 16th from 9 in the morning to 5 in the evening. Pickup dates are going to be online as well. They start Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And if you buy something, yes, you can show up, you can bring a check, you can bring cash, you can pay for it at the time of pickup. Those are the scheduled times. You can contact Joe Hetzel, who's here with any questions. And before I end, there's another thing that I want to tell you about the actual online auction, is please don't use a phone. Maybe if you're bidding on one item or two, that will get you by. But you're relying on the phone and reception and where you travel. My recommendation is to be at home, use a computer, and possibly even 2 screens. As the lots start to close, the ones that are extended bidding are going to stay at the top, which means you got to keep scrolling down at the bottom to make sure that you find a lot that might be closing down here that you don't see at the top. So it is hard to explain. You're going to catch on to it right when the first lots go off. That is something that us auctioneer, I cannot control. A lot of auction companies face this. It's just the design inside of the online program that you use. We use different programs for different functions of what we are selling. We find that these online only seem to work best with high bid. If you have any questions, make sure you register. Follow our website at whalenauction.com. Make sure that you follow us on our YouTube channel of Calling Whalen. And another plug is on Dewey's. He's going to have a collector auction that is going to be at our place on Saturday, December 13th, I believe. And that is going to be up at our loaded full of manuals, toys. There are some signs in there. That's going to be the second weekend of December at our place. Watch our website, like us, follow us. There's, I don't know how many times there's Facebook, YouTube, website, and you might get a fancy mailer in the mail. Thanks for watching.
Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Calling Whalen.